How to do grade 5s, it's ukulele day. So, for those of you who missed last week's first episode, the first and most important thing that you must learn how to do, now that we are all alone and I'm not able to help you guys out as much, you need to learn how to tune your own ukuleles. So those of you who were here last week will remember that I told you about ukutuner.com. It's a really lovely little site where you can actually, it shows you, it has a thing for learning how to tune your ukulele. And we want to make sure that when we use it, we set to standard tuning with a high G, because you guys have a high G string. My ukulele and some other larger ones use a low G, but you guys want to make sure you're using that. And just a quick reminder, it looks like this. Site will look a little like this, and we're just going to zoom on up. And so we're going to see that and say, oh, okay, well, I'm going to tune the first string, the G string. You're going to touch that, and it's going to keep playing that tone, right? And if you recall, I said the first thing you're going to want to do is actually loosen the strings. So you want to hear them kind of go down. I already did that on this one just because I wanted to be ready. But you want to make sure your strings are a little more loose when you start to tune, and then you only have to go in the one direction, and you just slowly turn it while you're turning it, while the sound goes up. You got to make sure that it's going up, and then you are good when it matches the sound, right? If it sounds like you can't actually tell that there's two strings going, then you're in tune. So then I'm going to do the next one. I'm going to do my C string. All right, that's in tune. Then we go to the E string. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, then we move on to the A string. And then I'm going to go through just do a double check. Okay, that's pretty good. Now, you probably won't be able to tune your ukulele quite as fast as I do, so if you need to, pause the video, make sure your ukulele is good, and when you play a C chord, it sounds good. I was always taught that if you sing the G, you should go, my dog has fleas. I don't know why my dog has fleas, but that's what I always heard. My dog has fleas, bum 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 bum. Okay? So make sure your ukulele's in tune. Pause it if you need to. And then we keep going. So, I know there's a few parents who are trying to learn ukulele along with their kids. So, I'm going to show you guys some helpful things. First of all, just a quick reminder of how to hold the ukulele. Make sure that the back of the body flat against your chest or stomach. Okay? We don't let it sit on our leg. That's not how this works. They go up high. And we actually want it on an angle because that actually makes it easier for your hand position. If it goes like this, it doesn't work very well. Then you have to bend your hand way more. Okay? The thumb stays on the back of the neck, and on our fingers stay nice and arched. We don't want flat fingers like that because then you end up touching. You only ever want one finger on each string at a time. And if you have your fingers flat, then you're gonna, like, say I'm touching this string up on at the top of the fretboard. My finger is going to be then draped over top of some other strings. And so if I'm fingering back here, then I'm just going to get a plunky sound as opposed to. See the difference? Anyways, when we strum, it's very simple. There's a couple ways of thoughts. I do not think that you should be using a pick on a ukulele. Some people do anyways, but these are nylon strings, so they're not designed for intense plucking. So we want to use simple things. Ukulele you can only play so long because otherwise your fingers are gonna like kind of get really, really sore. Not this fingers, the strumming fingers. So I was taught when I learned to play ukulele, I play with my finger, right? And you basically just kind of go like, I have an idea. And you strum with the back of your finger. So you're with your fingernail, right? You just drag the back of your finger over the strings, kind of right between the fretboard and the sound hole. So like right here, not up on the fretboard, not way back here, right in the middle. That's going to give you the nicest, clearest sound, okay? And when we strum up, you just drag your finger back up. Simply like that. Just a twist of the wrist. You don't have to use your whole arm, and you're just doing a lot more work than you need. It's like using your whole arm to strum a ukulele would be like using your whole arm to write your name with a pen. It's too much work. It's not necessary. So, just simple little twist of the wrist. Yeah? And then we have our chord diagrams. Now, most of our grade 5s should remember how these work, I hope. But if you don't, that's okay. Essentially, this is how we can figure out how to play a chord, which is a whole bunch of notes together that sound nice. Okay? So we're going to start with C, which the grade 5s definitely know. And we have these little metal bars, which are called frets. And when we play on these, you put your finger behind a fret and you push down tight with your thumb on the back of the neck. So you pinch and you use your thumb there. You don't put your thumb up way high. You might see me do that. That's because I have a wrist problem, actually. I have developed a bit of a bad habit. I broke my wrist when I was younger, and I have an issue with the bone connection in my wrist. So I have a really hard time turning my hand properly. If you can, which you guys should be able to do, because you guys probably didn't break your wrist in a weird way like me, keep your thumb on the back of the neck like that, and it gives you leverage. Ooh, something went out of tune. Oh, my C string went out of tune. That quick. And if your ukulele sounds like butts, just tune it again. So, the numbers that are indicating here are telling us which finger to use. Pointer finger is 1, middle finger is 2, ring finger is 3, and pinky is 4. We never ever use the thumb. If anyone ever told you to use your thumb, they're a liar and shouldn't be teaching you that. Don't use your thumb. It's for leverage, not for playing. If anyone ever tells you to put your thumb over the top like this, they are a crazy person. Don't do that. So in this case, C asks you for your third finger, and that's it, just your ring finger. And the diagram is supposed to indicate the top of the ukulele, like so. These double bars indicate this, which is called the nut. It's the top of the fretboard. And each vertical line indicates one of the 4 strings. And then the frets are indicated sideways. So this would mean third finger on the far string on the 3rd fret. So it's an exact visual diagram of where to put your finger, right? That's a C chord. F follows a similar pattern, except now we have two fingers. We have first and second finger. On the first fret of the second, the grade 5 should know this chord as well. And then your second finger, your middle finger, on the second fret of the G string, right? It goes G, C, E, A. Good children eat apples, or great crabs everywhere. Apples. I don't know. And then we have G7 or G. Now technically those are two different chords. They sound slightly different. That's G7. That's G. It's kind of hard for non-musicians to hear the difference. G7 sounds a little jazzier. It's got that kind of bluesy notes in there. I'm going to challenge my grade 5s to try and do G, because we usually end up using G7, but I want you to try and use G, which is a little different. I'm going to move this board up a little closer so you can actually see that. So those are your fingering diagrams. So if you need to, just pause the video, refresh yourself, okay? And we're going to start by doing a little fingering chord shifting exercise. More of a review for our students, because this is for them, not for the adults. And I'm going to set a metronome here. Hopefully you can hear that. I'll go a little slower. Okay, and we're just going to start with we're going to do the chords from In the Jungle, which goes in this pattern. It goes C, F, C, G, and then it repeats, right? And each chord is going to be a whole bar, and so that's 4 beats, right? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to, actually I'm going to slow that down a bit. And what we're going to do, even though I know some of you are really good at this, we're still going to do this just because it helps build our finger dexterity. We're going to start on C, and we're just going to do 1 strum on the first beat of a bar. And then when we get to the F, you do 1 strum on the first beat. And then we count like 3 rests, 3 shushes, right? So like, ah, sh, ah, sh, ah, sh, ah. I forgot what chord I was going to. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to keep repeating that. We're going to follow the metronome, okay? So you got to count 1, rest, 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 1, okay? And the first time, we just do 1 strum. The second time, once we get back to the beginning again, we're going to go strum, strum, rest, rest, strum, strum, rest, rest, okay? That's the goal here. And then the third time, we have 3 strums. And the last time, you try and get all 4 strums. So there's no time between you moving your fingers. So like, right? So you got to move your fingers real quick, okay? So we start from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. Strum, rest, rest, rest. Rest, rest, rest. Rest, rest to G. Back to beginning, 2 strums. Rest, rest. Rest, rest. To G and back to the beginning with 3. Rest. To G. To the top with 4. 2, 3, 4. F, 2, 3, 4. C, 2, 3, 4. G, 2. Try that again. Okay, so if you're having trouble with that, maybe get a metronome of your own, set it a little slower, okay, and try doing that a few times on your own. Maybe just do one strum and do all 3 rests, and then try and make it to the next one. And it's important you do it with a metronome, because it's really important that we learn how to move our fingers fast and get there in time. Because if we're playing with a band, you know, and the band's going a whim away, you know, you're going. Like the band can't wait for it, you know. You have to keep up with them. So you have to be able to move your fingers fast enough that you can a whim away, 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 a whim away. If you can't move your fingers fast enough, you won't be able to keep up with the other musicians. So you got to train yourself till you can do it. Okay? So that is our primary chords. And we are going to try and use G and not G7, because they are 2 different things. We use G7, just not always. So, I'm going to turn this bad boy here around. And oh my gosh, we have lyrics. So, here is In the Jungle. We only need our 3 chords, and our pattern is exactly as I mentioned before. C, F, C, G, and then repeats. That's how it goes. And we have 3 verses, and then the chorus, which is a whim away, 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 a whim away. And that's all it is. But we do the whim aways twice for each chorus, right? Now, I've written this down in a little bit of a slightly confusing way, but that's just because I wanted to make sure I could actually fit all the lyrics on this board and you'd be able to read it in this video. So here's one verse. Now I have stars indicated on lines 2 and 4, and then I just have stars here. That's because anytime there is the lion sleeps tonight, that's a star. So the whole verse goes as so. In the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion sleeps tonight, right? And you'll notice that I actually put the chords right above the syllable that the chord changes, right? In the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion sleeps tonight, right? So I put tonight, it lands on tonight. The shift is on that syllable, right? Then it repeats. In the jungle, the quiet jungle, the lion sleeps tonight. Okay? Then we have our chorus, which would be this line. And that's a whim away, 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 a whim away. And then that repeats. A whim away, 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 a whim away. That's the chorus. Now this is the next verse. Now, I wrote this a little weird because it's just repeated. So I thought it would be easier if I just narrowed the number of words on the page. So just like this one, we have near the village, the peaceful village, stars. The lion sleeps tonight. And then we just repeat it again, but instead of peaceful, it's quiet. Just like up here, mighty and quiet. Near the village, the quiet village, stars. The lion sleeps tonight. And that's our second verse. Then we have our whim aways again. And then the last verse, which doesn't change when you repeat it. Hush, my darling, don't fear, my darling. The lion sleeps tonight. Hush, my darling, don't fear, my darling. The lion sleeps tonight. And then we add our whim aways again. And then the last chord of the whim aways is a G, right? Because it goes F, C, G. But we don't want to end on a G because that sounds like it's not finished. So after we finish the last whim-aways, we're going to do one long rockstar strum C. And for those parents watching, what I would define as a rockstar strum is when you just you do a nice clear strum and put your hand out like Eddie Van Halen just nailed a guitar solo and is looking out across his crowd of thousands, and you just let your strings ring. Okay? So we're gonna try this out. Now I'm gonna record this here in this video here. So I'm gonna play and I'm gonna sing, and I'm gonna ask that the first time you do this with me, I'm going to encourage you, unless you're a crazy keener and you can already do it perfectly, I'm going to encourage you to only do the ukulele along with my singing, okay? And just focus on doing the chord changes and getting them without slowing down, right? And we're only going to do down strums. If you're a total keener and you're already mastered this, you can try and do up and downs. You gotta be really fast with your chord changes though. Okay, but if you're totally having trouble, all I want you to do is just focus on strum, 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 strum. And if you can't do 4, then do 3. If you can't do 3, do 2. Okay, the goal is to try and do what is the most challenging for you, where you can actually keep up with me, okay? And then maybe tomorrow, bust this video out, fast forward to this section, and try it again, okay? You know what? Actually, I got a better idea. Just because I think it'll be easier for you guys, I'm going to actually make that a separate video. I'm going to add it to this channel. That way, you don't have to look for this song, okay? So I will add to this playlist another separate video for In the Jungle, okay? And you will then switch to that video when you want to actually work on it and practice, okay? So, in the meantime, I will do it once in this video, and then I will actually have a separate one just for practicing play-alongs, okay? So, we're going to try this out. I'm going to sing. Excuse my singing. I haven't been doing much singing lately, so if I mess it up, I'm sorry. Let's see. Okay. Here we go. With the whole thing. So we got our verse, our whim-aways, verse, whim-aways, verse, whim-aways, and a rockstar C. A 1, a 2, oh, I should say, we'll add an introduction. We'll do whim-aways to start. As much practice as possible. There. We'll do, and remember we do the whole chord pattern twice for the whim-aways. Ready? A 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3. A whim-away, 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 whim-away, a whim-away, a whim-away, a whim-away, a whim-away, a whim-away. In the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion sleeps tonight. Jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion sleeps tonight. don't fear, my darling, the lion sleeps tonight. Okay, first off, I totally messed up and I said Mighty Jungle twice, so I apologize. I won't do that in the other video. So, like I said, all I wanted to do is focus on just strumming along, okay, and practicing the ukulele stuff. If you can play the ukulele stuff without even thinking, if you just mastered this, then you can try and start singing. It's very difficult to sing words and in pitch and get all your chords in the right place. And if you want to start practicing doing them and getting the singing and the ukulele together, first thing I would recommend, even if you're a master of the ukulele, is just focusing on doing a one-beat strum for every bar and singing like, in the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion sleeps tonight, right? Trying to do all the strumming while singing is very difficult. It takes a lot of practice, okay? So one step at a time. You gradually make it harder with each time you do it, right? Start with one strum while singing, and then to two strums while singing, and you build those skills together, okay? So that's what I want you guys to try and do. If you want to get crazy, try and teach your sibling or a parent how to do this, okay? And if you're a parent watching this, thank you for taking an interest in playing some silly little Hawaiian ukuleles with your kid. If you have any questions, you can email me at rlarden@sd91.bc.ca, or you can send me a message at my cell phone at 250-882-8219. I'd be happy to hear from you guys. As soon as I'm wrapping this up, I'll set up the play along video so you guys can try and play with me. And have fun, you know, practicing and trying to play the chords. Remember, it's not just about trying to play the song, it's about building the skill so that you can handle the song, okay? So I don't expect you to be able to just like watch this video and go, yeah, there we go, I got this. No, you'll probably have to do some of those strumming exercises, right? Get a metronome, you gotta set a metronome, otherwise it's not worth doing it. You need to follow that time, right? 2, 3, 4, right? Focus on getting less time. Try and move your fingers to the right spot very quickly, right? You don't want none of that like kind of like awkwardly moving around, right? C, F, C. If you're real quick, you can move your fingers to press down and strum almost at the exact same time. You technically, fingers have to hit just a microsecond before your strum, but right? So I will see you guys next Wednesday, and I will post a play along video for this. So see you later. I'll see you later. I miss you guys. Bye bye.